everything we know about the Picard spin-off series. Ever since the surprise announcement at Star Trek Las Vegas that Sir Patrick Stewart would be returning to the role of Jean-Luc Picard in his own spin-off series, fans have been losing their minds for the return of one of Star Trek's best and most beloved captains. Right from the start, speculation began about what this could all mean. Is the old crew coming back? Is he still a captain in Starfleet? What about his relationship with Dr. Crusher? Trekkers and Trekkies alike, because those are different things, had hundreds of questions and no actual answers. But now, thanks to some scraps and inklings from the various players, we're piecing it all together to get an idea of what to expect in the upcoming Picard series. So let's start with what we know. Right along with the series announcement, we found out that the show will take place 20 years after Star Trek Nemesis, the last of the Next Generation era movies, and that Jean-Luc Picard will be in a totally different part of his life than when we last saw him. We also know from a pic that Stewart tweeted that he was in the writer's room helping to craft the story arc and that he's a producer on the show. So whatever story is told, we know that it will have Patrick's input from early on and will hopefully stay true to the character that we know and love. We also heard from a couple of the writers, like Pulitzer Prize-winning author Michael Chobot, who said that Stewart was really pushing us to try to do something new and different with the character, and that he wants to see Jean-Luc Picard having experiences, having adventures, and be put in situations we haven't seen before. We also got word from some of the Next Gen cast members who, of course, wanted to be part of the new series. Some of them played it cool, like Michael Dorn, who said he'd be on the series if the conditions were right. And some of them just straight up admitted that they hadn't been asked, like Marina Sirtis. And some of them let out their inner fanboy and gushed about their excitement for the new series, namely Will Wheaton.
A very strange reaction. Not really.
But then Thursday, in an interview with Deadline, Riker himself, Jonathan Frakes, chimed in with some new info. Frakes, who has been directing episodes of Star Trek Discovery, expressed his interest in being a part of the series and shared that Patrick isn't playing Captain Jean-Luc Picard this time. He's done with Starfleet in this show. That's about the only thing I do know about the show, but did add, I can't imagine a world where there's no reference to what happened to the rest of the Next Generation cast. So besides the various quotes, reactions, and revelations from writers and TNG cast, what else can we gather about the Picard series? Well, looking to Star Trek canon, last we saw of the character was in the movie Star Trek Nemesis, where he goes toe-to-toe with an evil clone of himself made by the Romulans, a clone played by a fresh-faced pre-Venom Tom Hardy. Captain Picard has had plenty of alien adversaries throughout his time at the helm, but the Romulans have been right up there with the Borg as a major thorn in the side for the captain. And it seems that the new series is using Picard's strange relationship with the Romulans as a jumping-off point for the character. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman recently revealed that part of why we're seeing a different Picard in the series is because of the Romulans, saying that Picard's life was radically altered by the dissolution of the Romulan Empire, as its beginnings were seen in JJ's Star Trek film with the destruction of the Romulan homeworld. And we can also look to some of the supplemental Star Trek materials for more info, specifically the comic miniseries Star Trek Countdown, which is considered a prelude to the '09 Star Trek film and takes place 8 years after Star Trek Nemesis, where Picard is made ambassador to Vulcan. And going back to that Kurtzman quote, Picard may not be a captain anymore. He may not be the Jean-Luc that you recognize and know so well. It may be a very different individual, someone who has been changed by his experiences. So, adding up everything, what can we speculate about the new show? Even though Picard was an ambassador in the comics, the episodes and movies never canonically showed him in that role. But knowing how evil and corrupt Starfleet's admirals constantly were on the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, we could see Jean-Luc Picard deciding not to become an admiral and instead becoming either an ambassador or, even more likely, leaving Starfleet altogether to pursue his love of archaeology. That would track with Kurtzman saying he might be a very different individual. Our theory is that Picard will have left Starfleet after a stint as an ambassador and will be in the outer fringes of space, actually seeking out new life and new civilizations away from all of the bureaucratic red tape that is Starfleet and its top brass. Most likely, Starfleet will seek him out as he is still considered one of the greatest captains that had ever lived and will be forced to help solve a dilemma with what is left of the Romulan Empire, or perhaps something even worse, corruption in the Federation, or both. Whatever the story ends up being, we're excited to see Picard back in action, and we'll just have to wait until the show premieres to find out what he'll be up to. But what do you folks think? Will Picard be an admiral or an ambassador? Would you want to see all the old crew back, or should this be a solo adventure? And if it is a solo trek, should Picard just be Indiana Jones in space? Let's discuss. Be sure to like, subscribe, or mash that little bell to get notified every time we go live with the show or drop a new video. And don't forget to check out Talkin' Tunes on Alpha. Animation legend Rob Paulson gets animated with fellow actors and insiders discussing all things voiceover every week. New episodes hit projectalpha.com on Friday.